Hello everyone, welcome back to part 2 of the video. If you watched part 1, if you've not watched part 1, please go back and watch it. Please go back and watch it. And so we'll just jump right into the video. No time to, you already know the people you are saying. So we're just going to jump right into the video. Kale is just going to take us through a breakdown of how the NHS application job works. So Kale, take the floor, take us away.
Please, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We are here. Alright, so the first one we're talking about would be TRAC, TRAC. So you could just go on TRAC, just Google it and register, create your profile, your personal details, all of that. Just need to fill that in. So that if every application you make, it just auto fills. So you can also take it a step further by subscribing to their emailing list so that you get to see job pop-ups whenever they add in new ones. They send it like every day. So or sometimes twice in a day, depending. So yeah.
Yeah, so one thing I want to ask, so for the TRAC, do we need to like upload our CV? Like once you're trying to create an account, do you need to upload your CV, like so they know what, like I've seen some sites that you have to upload your CV. So do we need to upload our CV and set everything, or just the personal information, just that?
Well, personally, particularly for TRAC, you don't need to upload your CV. So I would say just have your job duties for each of the specialties. If you're somebody who wants to try out different specialties, maybe particular there's a level to which you get to that maybe you might start trying to apply for other jobs in other fields, because maybe the one you're applying for is you're not getting it. So maybe if you're like me that was trying to try out different ones since my specialty wasn't working, basically I had job duties for all of the specialties. I had to have job duties for where for most Nigerians, you get to do during your internship, you get to go through the 4 fields. So you can't put all of them in just one. So you have to have one for chemistry, have one particularly for hematology, microbiology, and histo. So just separate them. Another thing that you need to have also is your supporting information, because that is where the work is. It's about a minimum of it's a maximum of 1,500 words. If you're having a maximum of 1,500 words, you should have at least maybe 1,300 or 1,200. I think mine is about last time I checked was about 1,490, close to 1,500. But the point is, it's not really about the number of words. It's just about if you're saying or you're hitting. We'll get to that part anyways. But yeah, so there's TRAC, and then there is there's another one called NHS Jobs still, just like TRAC, but that one is at least put up the link. So yeah, there's that one. That one doesn't require SI. But the things you say in your SI is what you used to fill in the job, in the questions, because they'll ask you where, for example, where have you worked in a team? These are things that are part of your SI. Just an example, yeah. Another one would be NHS blood and transplant. So you can also try that. NHS blood and transplants. There's if you Google it, yeah. If you just try subscribing to their everyone I mentioned, try subscribing to their emailing list so that every day you get pop-up, so you can see the job, so you determine what you want to apply for and what you don't want to apply for. Another one would be Indeed, so you can put your job search to be biomedical scientist jobs, so you get to see all biomedical scientist jobs pop up. Yeah, that's it for the job sites.
Okay, so now so we're just going to try to focus on, because I know it's a lot, so let's just try to focus on one major one. So we'll work with NHS for the purpose of this. So just run us through the NHS application.
Okay, so I'll just pick on the ones that I know some people might find. I'll talk about everything, but I'll focus on the ones that are really really difficult. So I'm going to talk about TRAC, because TRAC is where majority of people get their biomedical sciences jobs on or from. So say for example you see the job, you see the emailing list, and you click on it, you see the part where it asks you your where you be asked your what visa you're on, or are you in the country or not. Don't worry, whatever your situation is, just apply. Whether you're in Nigeria, like outside of the country, you don't have any visa at all, just apply, right? So if you're a student, just apply. They have places for that. So when you move forward, you will now get to the part where they will ask you if you want to use your online CV, you want to use a recent application, you want to use a blank form. So that online CV is when you are registering, whatever you put up there, which I said I would advise that you do not do that, because for each job it changes unless you are sure that this is the only one you want to be applying for. So I would say don't autofill for that one. I would say be the one to apply for the first job, then for the next job you can use your recent application. I would say that you should make your first application, then use your recent application. That is that first application you did. Use that recent application to autofill. So because if you use the online CV, it might not really, you might not, when you start it, you understand what I'm saying. So anyway, so yeah, then there's a blank form. So if you're just starting, this is your first time, so I would say use your blank form so you can fill in details, so you don't have to repeat them in your next application. Then after that first application, then you can now use the recent application to continue the process. I hope you understand that. So let's use a recent application because I've applied before. Then to tell you to launch the application. So the first place you go to is your personal details. Sometimes it might have already have auto-filled from when you registered, so you can just cross-check to make sure that your spelling of your name, all those things are correct, your address, all those things, email address, all those things, you get that. So the next thing is rehabilitation of offenders. If you committed any crime before, please state it. Let it be known. State it basically. It's important that you do. And then it goes straight to your application questions. Then you give your education and your training. Give them, if you've had your MSc, please put it there. If you have your BSc, put it there. If it's just your BSc you have, still put it there. And then
what about if your MSc is still in view? Like probably I'm not done and I'm applying for the jobs. Do I put it, and is there a way I can put it and say, oh, it's maybe September 2022 to September 2023, like even if we're not yet at September?
Okay, so the reason why I would say you should just put it there, but don't put they have end dates and start date and end date. So don't put any end date. Just put your start date. Right, and then you talk about training courses you've attended. If you've done quality management trainings, you have certifications for them. You can just put them. Even if you don't have certificates, put them. So far you've attended those trainings, please put them. Then your professional registration, HCPC registered, please add it there. Very important. Put your HCPC registration number and all of that. Then talk about your employment, your employment history, what you've done. These are where the job duties come in. So you can, since you already have a Word document for it, you can just copy and paste this one, or depending on the job description or what it is. Just basically this part, I would say it's actually copy and paste, to be honest. But you can tweak it to suit what they are looking for. One thing that you need to note after writing your job history is that for every job you've put up, right, you should have a referee for them, right? So they don't see a job and not see a referee for that, because when you eventually get the job, you need to contact people that that worked at that place, or that know you at that place, or that know you, that you worked there. You need to contact them. So put up places that you know that they have work email addresses, because they deal with work email addresses, not personal email addresses. Yeah. And so you talk about,
so if all the places I've worked right now, and it probably just people who have worked in private labs, almost all like a large number of their experience, and they don't have work emails, what do you do? Yeah.
So I'm actually in that kind of situation, and then I had to contact somebody, because the person had even left the place, and at the time when they were there, they didn't even have work email addresses. So the good thing about it was that the person I contacted had his current place of job. He has a work email address, so I gave them his current work email address. So even if the person says, or even if the email address doesn't match with that of the original, the place we worked at, it still states that this person is working somewhere else. So the person can still vouch that, oh, I once worked here, and and even if they want to do their background check, it to show that this person actually works in this place. So I would say still give them the person's current email address and current work email address. So the next thing will be gaps in employment. So you could talk about when there's any gap in your employment, maybe you weren't working for like a year or 2 years. Please talk about it and tell them what you were doing at that point in time. They might, if you eventually get your job, they might ask you for who can vouch for you for that period of or that gap in your employment. So please talk about your gaps in employment. It's very important. Now to the most important part of this application would be your supporting information, your SI. I'm going to be using the word SI, so just so that we are on the same page. So your SI. So SI is how you convince them that you're the best fit for the job. It shows that you've read the job specification and you've read the person's specification, right, the job description, to tell them that you know what they want and that you are the best fit for the job, that you have all those qualities, or at least 90% or 80% or 70% of what they need or want. So I would say you should start with who you are. Tell them that you are HCPC registered, and you can put up your number there. Tell them how you got your MSc or your BSc. Not necessarily that you went to this school in so year, or you can just say I'm a HCPC registered biomedical scientist with registration number this, obtain my bachelor's in this so year, and obtain my just go straight to the point. But let's be brief, because in the person's specification they always put it up that you must have had relevant experience in this particular field. So they've said that, so they want to see that in your SI, that you're saying that you are this, right? So that's you have ticked off one of the job description or job specification. Then you can now go to your knowledge and your work experience. So now you can now make it a bit story-like, so that it will hit the nail on the head. And try connecting your job history with your SI and with the job specification. I hope I don't confuse you. For example, if one of the job the description or the person specification means that you should be able to work under pressure or in a busy work environment, right? So you could actually say while working at this. So you've connected your job history. So you can say while working at this, I did this and I did that. And okay, let me give you one example, right? So say for example you were in the lab and you had a lot of samples coming in at so time. Maybe you were the only scientist on call, and then so number of samples came in while you still had ones before. You could talk about how you prioritize your workload, because that's one of the things that that keyword, prioritizing your workload. So you can tell them you prioritize your workload by creating checklists, using stopwatches, attending to emergencies first before attending to samples that were not urgent, things like that. That's how you can answer that, or at least tell them that you are somebody who can prioritize your workload. So this might be like 5-6 lines. It doesn't have to be so long. So try to make it story like. Don't make it that I prioritize my work. This is how I prioritize workload. This is how I'm a team. I'm a team player. You can just make it a story. So while working at this, I learned to. You can state this was a place that was known for. This hospital was a center for this, and while I was there, you carried out this. This was what you learned. There was this time that I, things like that, and the reason why I say talk about the places, so that the people know that you are somebody who reference your previous workplace as a good place, so that then they don't feel like you're someone who just left with pride and anger. Anyway, so yes, there's that. Then you can so that's under your knowledge and work experience. You could talk about, so give examples of how you meet up the person specification. Talk about sound knowledge of UCAS, ISO 15189. Talk about good laboratory practice and how things you've learned. Quality management system, please highlight it, talk about it. So now you don't forget that you're trying to suit what is in the JD. So job description, that's what I mean by JD. So try to, I'm just giving you a general what SI could just look like. So it's not like you have to follow what is here. Talk about SOPs. You've reviewed SOPs or business SOP. If that's you've done that before. Talk about audits. Then most NHS places always talk about care. Being able to show your patient's care and your colleagues' care. So you can give an example of when you've showed care to a patient or maybe to a colleague. So it depends on now. So if they say okay, maybe adapting to circumstances is part of the job description, you can also highlight that in the SI, right? Talk about your skills, your manual skills, your automated skills. Give examples of tests you've carried out, right? Then tell them how you can troubleshoot machines. Tell them that you pay close attention to detail. You can now give an example of that. So everything you say, give a story to it. So don't just say I can do this. How did you do it, right? So I troubleshoot machines. How did you do it? You can now say I troubleshoot. There was this time when I worked at this that our machine had an issue, so I carried out I used our our quality control samples to like I ran our quality control sample on the machine to be sure if it was the reagents, like if it was the QC itself, or if it was the machine. Just say things like so don't just say I can do this or I operated machines. What did you use the machines to operate? What did you use the machines to achieve or to run? Talk about, don't just give them reasons to want to, show them that you know your stuff basically. So don't forget to always impute the places you worked at. Like I said, most of them say, can you work weekend shift, late shift, early shift? So you can talk about that. Tell them when you've done something like that before. You see how the words will actually get to 1,500. So it might look like a lot, but by the time you start typing and writing stories, you now discover, okay, maybe I should remove this part, remove that part. Yeah, talk about team player, knowledge of IT, IT packages, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, all of that, LIMS, laboratory information management system. Talk about that. Your communication skills as well. Where have you shown that you've spoken well, and where have you shown that you've written well? Give stories, right? And then you can now conclude by saying, okay, you can now conclude based on the essential criteria. Just, you probably have mentioned it in the work, so you can just give a summary that you are these, that you care for your patients, and blah blah blah, and this is why you want to work, and you believe that what you're bringing to the table, right, will help the NHS trust, right, or will and that in helping them, they will also help you. But make sure that you always add the trust at the end, so that they know that you're not just copying and pasting. You're actually reading the work, and you actually did spell the name of the trust there. So yeah, I think that's it for your SI. And then after your SI, you now have, okay, you're in the armed forces or not, and then equal opportunities. If your gender, date of birth, you're British, all of that. Then your disability. If you have any disabilities, please state it. Please state it, is very important. And then how did you learn of the job vacancy? I think there's a drop down, so you get to choose, maybe Indeed, wherever. They won't put others, so in case, just put it just to help them in their, I don't know if it's auditing or what, but it shall help them. I know that one for sure. Then you declare, you have to do your declaration, and then that's it. And then you go through the application all over to make sure that you don't make any mistake. And then you submit your application. And then TRAC gives you the opportunity to actually download your application or to view it whenever, because you can view it, you can download it whenever. So even when you get the job or you're being called for interview, you can still go through the job adverts. You see about the job there, so you can go through the job advert and just see what you did or what you applied for, all of that. Read about the hospital, then go for your interview. They make everything you need for interview. Yeah, they make it available there. So after you apply, so it's either you do not get the job and you get unfortunately, or you'll be called for an interview, which they will tell you what to do. And after that, then you can take it up, or however you want to take it up, basically. And about sponsorship, can I talk about what you want to?
Yeah, talk about sponsorship.
So about sponsorship, most of them actually put it up there that if you need sponsorship, they will give it to you. And even if they don't state it there in the job adverts, you could actually ask for sponsorship. So when you most of the time when you get the job, they might take a while to do like their pre-employment check. So they give you your unconditional offer first, and after that, after you fulfill, and they always tell you to not quit your job if you're already working somewhere. Don't quit it yet, because they find out that there's something that you did not declare when you were making your application. Say for example, you committed a crime that you didn't state. They could, and if they find out that you actually committed a crime, they would withdraw the offer and you will not be employed. So it would be bad if you had already quit your job and you're waiting for this one to pull through. So I would say keep doing what you're doing, and then after the pre-employment checks, they always say it takes about 4 to 6 weeks then before you've been given your your unconditional offer letter. And when they give you your unconditional offer letter, that is when you know that you are achieving that. On that letter, you need to show you your start date, and then some trust will say until you get your unconditional offer letter before they give you your COS, that is certificate of sponsorship. So they'll give you that after you've met all of the requirements, but some would say they'll give it to you before. So it depends on your circumstance and who you're speaking with, your recruitment advisor. So maybe you say your visa is expiring and you need to really jump on the next. So I'm pretty sure if you speak to a recruitment advisor, I think it differs for very different people. Like I said, this is not the standard, right? This is just a view. This is just a broad view. Different people, different situations, and but this is just the basic thing, basically. Basic thing. Okay.
All right, so thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for that breakdown. So I just one thing I want to ask. So how is the interview process like? Is it just a typical sit down and let me just do the interview, ask you one or two questions, and then they go, or what is it? What should they expect? What should we expect for the interview process?
Hmm. Okay. So you already go through a lot with the application. So you want to put in your best for the interview. Interview is telling them everything you said in your SI. It's not like they want you to say everything in your SI. No, they want you to be relaxed, free. Tell them about your experiences. Whether or not in the SI, it doesn't matter. Just talk about your experiences and how you fit the job specification or the JD or this person specification, right? So talk about the sometimes, right, the first question they usually ask is tell us about yourself. As a biomedical scientist, I would say the first thing you should do would be to talk about oh you it depends on, I mean, they already know your name, so you don't necessarily have to, you could just be relaxed, right? That's the first thing. I'll say be relaxed, read the environment. Sometimes maybe compliment them before you even start talking, so that it puts you on a, so that they can laugh and they're looking forward to what you have to say. So don't look too tense, or even though deep inside of you, your heart is probably in your liver and your liver is probably in your brain. So just relax and answer the question. Like I said, the first question they usually ask is tell us about yourself. So I would say start with your educational history. You don't have to talk about how you maybe got first class or second class or third. No. Just say you finished in so year and you had the opportunity to intern at so place. You might want to say intern or not. So it depends on if you want to say you want to that you intern or not. I mean, it's your choice. So you talk about your internship. So now wherever you intern, talk about what it was known for and how it relates to that role. So I would say wherever you intern, right, try to find a way to link the your future job with what you have done before, right? So link it up and say this place is known for this, or this is one of the things that they carry out, and you had the opportunity to work in this place. Say for example, we're talking about hematology. So say that you worked as a hematologist, worked in the blood bank, in the hematology lab, and all of that. Then you can tell them the kind of test you carried out. You can talk about the machines you used, talk about how you followed SOPs, and you give examples of this, right? So when you talk about machines, make sure you talk about how you've troubleshot a machine before, especially if it's malfunctioning, or it could be a microscope, something to just show that you've done, or you can solve problems in the lab. Talk about your IT skills, things basically in the job description. Try to fit it across your job history, basically. So maybe say you worked in two places, you can fit you can divide it. Okay, this is what you want to talk about here, and this is what you want to talk about here, because you're not lying about it. This is your experience, so you need to give examples of when you've done all of these things. So in your head, make sure that you have to align them to, right, unless they stop you and say, okay, they want to ask you now. So the questions could be because everything, to be honest, everything I will still ask you is things that are in the JD. So everything is still in the JD, right? So they will ask you everything that relates to the JD inside. So teamwork, I don't like teamwork just coming to my head. So teamwork, all of that, problem solving skills, when you prioritize your workload, So if now there's now the diversity, if it depends on chemistry, methodology, all of that. Okay. So different specialties with different questions, technical questions, right? So for hematology, for example, they have like some particular questions pertaining to blood grouping, I guess. So you could actually, yeah. So you could actually like maybe go to some YouTube, just check on YouTube, just check for people who talk about hematology interviews. So you just see some questions that they ask, and all of that. Some people are on group chats. You also join some group chats. They have some will release questions that they've asked them in their interview. You just go through it and just see what you know, and then ask for help for people who have done it. So for chemistry, I know one of the things that they ask is LG charts, Levi Jennings charts. They could ask you how you can troubleshoot machines, Or okay, for example, they could ask that what if calcium failed in like where you're running your samples? What if calcium was given a very critical value? What if potassium was given a very critical value? What do you do? Questions like that. So you need to, you could also watch videos like that on YouTube. Just answer your, to just give you an idea of what you can say. For histopathology, for cellular pathology, they deal a lot with microtome. So you could maybe I've not really had the opportunity to see histo questions, but I know you must know how to use a microtome at least, or at least have an idea, right? So at least know the structure of a microtome, and check YouTube for questions like that. For micro, I would say same thing. Go on YouTube and check. You ask you like say if a urine sample came at this time and it had been on. They might not necessarily tell you how long it's been.
Yeah.
They could just say it came in at 3 p.m. and your shift starts at 5 and you are seeing the sample that came in from. What would you do? Things like that. So as a microbiologist, what are you supposed to do? If sample has stayed on the bench for a very long time, what is the lab's standard time range for when samples like that come in? The things like that. If you actually go on some group chats, if you find out, people could actually give you some interview questions that they ask. Just prepare yourself technically. Prepare yourself um situational for situational based questions. What would you do if? What can you do when? Things like that. Right? They want to know and see. And to be honest with you, even if you do not know the answer to a question, right? If you have an idea, say it. Right? In interview, you're there to convince them that you are the best fit. So even if you do not know the answer, tell them that you're going to. If you don't know it at all, just say, "Oh," ask them to repeat it again, or tell them to rephrase the question. If you still do not get it, just tell them that okay, we actually don't know it. But if they actually tell you the answer, you'll be happy because you would have learned it and you do better next time, right? And I mean, you've gained knowledge, right? So and they say go and read about it. Well, I mean, of course, please do go and read about it. For like I said, for chemistry, they could give you the charts, like literally give it on a printed paper and say interpret it. Yes, we might have to explain it to them. And sometimes they might tell you, some interviews will say after your interview, you will have to go and do a practical test. Like they take to just see how sometimes it could be pipetting using the pipettes and multi-channel pipettes, single channel pipettes. It will ask you to like maybe prepare 70%, 80% alcohol, maybe for a particular volume of
So we'll actually go to the lab, like they'll take you to the lab and you.
some places do. They'll take it to the lab. Some will take you to, I mean, they'll just prepare a small lab and just take it there. Some will just give you questions on a paper and say, okay, answer the question. So it just depends. Different trusts, different standards. Yeah. But the things I've spoken about are like the basic things.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you so much. It was such a pleasure.
I really hope.
It was such an honor having you here, and we hope to hear more testimonies, like testimonies from like that. This has really helped a lot of people in their interviews, and this has blessed us. I know that I don't know if I'm going to apply for a job. She's going to be paying me salary so really much. I don't know if I need a job, but definitely we hope to looking forward to hearing people say that this has actually blessed them, because this is actually the reason why we sit down here and do these videos. If you know what we've been through, I'm going to put a clip now.
You're not rooting something happened. Ego. Is it the battery? Relax.
I'm putting my head to this. So let me just start to do it again.
From the beginning.
What has gone? What we've been through doing this video. Thank you so much, Kale.
Thank you
so much
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And we hope to see you up.
Amen.
We hope to see you up.
Higher, every day. Amen. Every day.
So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.